Eileen's drinking
Banter.
water. I've got some
I'm gonna
peppermint
join the
tea.
chat.
They can watch as Amos quietly scrambles to load up pages behind the scenes.
Yeah. Why not? They could see all that stuff. Who cares? We're transparent here.
Amos, I
Yes,
haven't
ma'am.
told you this lately, but your beard is quite glorious.
Thank you.
What are we going to do in the summer? Keep it?
So, I don't know.
If that's like a loaded question,
no, it's
just
it's
ignore
like,
me.
It's like two different lengths right now because this part likes to curl out. So about a month ago, I went on a weekend date with my wife up in Seattle, and I wanted to trim it up to make it real nice. So I trimmed it, so now it's like some of this part is like shorter than this part, and so I'm kind of like letting it grow out. I'm gonna. My wife retired. My wife's retirement is on June 2nd. So on that day,
Oh, that's so fun! Oh my gosh, you must be relieved.
I am going to let it grow unencumbered, other than the cleaning up to make it to where I don't look like a don't look like I live in a shopping cart.
The daily wife is like, here's what we're doing.
And then once the retirement ceremony is over and the pictures are done, then I'll decide if I want to trim it, cut it, keep it. Like I just want it to look nice and full for the retirement ceremony, and then we can kind of go from wherever from there. So
well, I think it looks nice right now. As someone who is growing out various lengths of hair myself, I feel ya. I feel ya.
Yeah, so
I tried to. I really tried with my bangs. I was like getting long and it was getting shaggy, and I wanted to have like these long sort of curtain bangs, and you get that in between, and I got too impatient.
It's tough.
And I just went to the bathroom and
it's like a year commitment. Yeah, I mean, it's more than that if you really want to grow them out fully, but like, I know what you're talking about. And it's like, because I'm there right now where it's like, they're too long to have straight. They're weird to the side because they just look like, why did she cut half her? And I'm just like, I just have to wait this thing out. I got to do it.
It's hard. Yeah. So hard. I had these visions of what it was going to be. And then I said, you know what? I know what's good. I know what's going to make me happy.
You look good with bangs. So there you have it.
Yeah. Well, they're just impossible to maintain, but they're fine. I've been doing it all my life. Why stop now?
Every time I get them, which is once every, 10 years or so, I'm like, love them, so cute, but like, I forgot. These are like hard to maintain.
Yeah.
If you don't have bangs, you just put your hair in a bun and go.
Yep. I totally discourage people. That's why I barely wear hats. Because if I wear a hat, these things get bent. And it's a whole, and it doesn't want to return to form.
No, you have to like get them wet. And,
it's a thing. Ladies out there, you know what we're talking about. Even guys out there, you know.
I took a shower last night before bed. Like my hair was dry before I like hit the sheets, but it was very freshly washed. And this morning it was like, I looked crazy. I was like, I basically need to dunk my hair in water again just to like start over. And so I was like, never mind, slick it back.
Yeah. When I go to the hair salon, I have to, and if it's not my regular girl, I have to be like, oh, you need to do my bangs first. Otherwise there's no repair. We have to get this first. Everything else can wait. They're like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, you don't understand. They need the attention first. Everything else,
well, because it's face framing, it's like, it's other stuff you can hide, but like bad bangs, what are you gonna do?
But like, why when they don't ask me, when they do not ask me, like, how do you have bangs at the beginning? I'm like, oh, this is okay, emergency. Well, I got to tell you right now. Anyway, sorry about the bang talk. Yeah, I have successfully restarted my machine. I have updated I'm gonna like make sure to close out any extraneous apps that do not need to be here. In particular, I think it's the Adobe stuff that, like I had Premiere on last time, in the background and stuff like that. So like that is not happening today.
I'd be surprised if Creative Cloud was an issue for you last week, but I have had issues with like Dropbox syncing weirdly and just, I don't know, just general weirdness. So who
Same. There was
knows?
tons of saying. I was like, "What is happening? Why is this happening?" You know what? In fact, I'm just gonna chuck out a Creative Cloud right now. Never
Magnesium
know.
CW says in chat, Amos, pretty quiet on the topic of bangs. You know what? Not everybody wants to talk about bangs.
Yeah,
Or fringe. Fringe.
yeah,
That's
fringe.
for you, Zoe. Either works. Yeah. It's
so
like
no,
thongs versus flip flops. Same thing. Same thing.
thongs, yeah. But the people who commented on our YouTube video I mean, maybe we should save this for the show, but I'm very thankful because I've been, made my day.
Yeah, no, I was. Some people maybe didn't think it was that funny, but the few of you who were like, "This is funny. You guys are good. Good comedy." We were like, "Well, we didn't want to be comedians, but." But cool.
Sometimes you just have to just laugh. Otherwise, it's like the worst thing.
Cry.
Yeah. No, you don't want crying. Oh, actually, crying is good for ratings. But anyway,
I will say right now, it's not going to happen today because I'm in a great mood.
Yep.
Sun's out, buns out, all the things. But I will probably cry on the show at some point.
okay.
It's just I'm a crier. I cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a crier too, but somehow I hold it in. Well, it just depends on what it is, too.
Totally.
You know,
What
like
was I have you been watching? Okay. The tiny thing, and then we go to the show. What's it called? Life and Beth, Amy Schumer's
no,
sitcom.
have not.
Second season. I think it's wrapped now. It's a great show. I mean, you have to like Amy Schumer, but I do. But and no spoilers, but the final episode of the second season is very family poignant, stuff. And I mean, I watched it I was like, I've got 30 minutes to spare, kind of like midday. And at the end, I was just like sobbing. If somebody walked in right now and I was like, I just watched the final episode of season 2 of Life and Beth, they'd be like, Sarah, maybe you need to go outside.
Oh,
but it just, sometimes just something gets you and you're just like, I'm not even like freaking out right now. It's just happening.
Yeah,
happening
for sure.
to the tear ducts.
Oh, and you never know when it'll hit you too. It'll be the oddest time. And then the next time you watch it, why did I cry over this? But
Yeah.
I watch a lot of my Korean dramas are like that, where it's like comedy. Then all of a sudden some poignant moment comes. I'm like, I was not watching this show for this. No.
Right.
I did not want to turn this on to laugh. Why did you get all mushy?
Well, and have you ever had one of those moments where you just I don't know, you've got mascara on for whatever reason, and you go and look at yourself in the bathroom later and you're like, oh my God. Wow.
What happened?
like if I would have been out in public right now, someone would have stopped me and been like, ma'am,
are you
have
hurt?
a safe
Did someone
place to go?
Yes.
I have a little thing for Eileen. In Korea, a lot of the little restaurants and stuff like that are family run, family owned.
Yeah.
And they'll have the TV playing K-dramas, during while you're sitting there eating your meal and the crew is half paying attention to the show and half paying attention to you because it's whatever. We were sitting there eating, just 4 GIs, sitting there eating one day, and we started to notice that a lot of the wait staff and even the cook was out of the kitchen, and they were watching the show, and we're like, man, it must be really, really something going on.
Yeah.
And we just sat there we needed drinks, we need all the American stuff, give us our stuff. We're just sitting there patiently waiting because they're all watching this show. And then it cuts to commercial and there's 3 waiters, they all hurry up and handle all the tables and run back to watch the show again. And I was like, oh, this must be live. This must be something new.
Oh.
So towards the end of our dinner, the show is over and stuff like that. And we asked our waiters, so was that a new show? Is that a new episode? They're like, oh, no. We've seen it many times. We just love this episode.
We saw it many times. We just love this episode.
They were pausing the entire restaurant for, 7-8 minutes at a time, waiting for a commercial to come on for a recorded show. And I was
that's
like,
hilarious.
this is good.
That's a funny story, because actually in K-dramas, they will depict people in restaurants riveted with whatever's going on the TV if everybody in the story is watching something. And so I kind of like didn't really understand that. And I noticed that when I was in Korea, but your stories, that's awesome.
It's so fun up there. Such a different culture. Love it.
Yeah, I got to get there at some point. A country I have not been to.
It's very safe.
There are lots of countries I haven't been to, but I've also been to a lot of countries. I think it looks and sounds awesome.
Soju, bulgogi, and the transit app.
There you go.
Yes.
Those are the three things you need in Korea.
And you're fine if you don't speak Korean.
Also, just like I know Korea is much more than Seoul, but Seoul being a huge ass city, I love to explore a new city and just be like, okay, what are the quirks?
Yeah.
Go to
let's
Busan
let's figure out public transit. See some neighborhoods.
Yep, the neighborhoods are great because the shopping and just the like wandering around and just like the cafe culture. Everything is so cool. It's just I cannot. I'm already like we wanted to go. Honestly, we wanted to go a couple weeks from now because MLB opener is there. It's the Dodgers and the Padres.
Right.
But we can't. But
seriously, all you and Tom
it.
have to do is move closer to me, and then we can all just walk over to Koreatown.
That's right. That's right. We could. In fact, we talked about this the other day because we found out that a famous favorite singer of ours recorded her music video in LA in January. And we're like, January, February is usually the time they start coming to LA and recording music videos. So we should just kind of like, hey, Sarah, can we come over? And then every once in a while, we're going to go to walk down the street to see if we can bump into
honestly, my apartment, not to be like braggy, but like it's like too big for just me. I need I need some folks. Sit on my couch. It's all good. I got an Apple TV. You are fine. I have ice water. You're fine.
Oh man, is everybody ready for the show?
I'm ready for the show. And I know Amos, you kind of have busy Mondays, so I think I think it's about that time to get the party started.
Then let's do it.
Let's do it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Apple Vision Show. Hello, Eileen Rivera. Thumbs up. If only I could do it, because I don't have an iPhone recording me. For audio listeners, Eileen is like kind of a show off. She does these gestures and then she gets, the fun iOS stuff.
I don't remember what the other ones are. It's like high five. Yeah. So, I'm making tons of fun hearts and fireworks right now for those of you who can't see, just because I like to show Sarah. I forgot, honestly, pre-show I started doing one and then I'm like,
when we were still in our kind of like testing phase, this was like official episode 1. I was like, how did you do that? Let me try. I can't. Why isn't it happening? Which in hindsight was so stupid of me. I'm like, why did I think a non-Apple product was going to do the Apple things? But I didn't realize that you were using your iPhone as a camera, which actually is a very nice camera. It's always looked really good.
Yeah, I just, these are fun things to have when, you're having conversations. I don't change my background. I don't, what else can you do with virtual meetings? I just kind of keep it real, except for these gestures. Let's go. And in fact, I'm taking Korean class and we're all on Zoom, and there's a lot of times that there's some gestures that happen. I think it's like the peace sign. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there it is. Balloons happen on your screen. Did you miss it, Sarah? You did.
No, I saw it. I saw it. It's very lovely. Happy birthday.
Happy pre-birthday. Happy birthday to everybody. Happy March baby birthday. This is for all the March babies out there that are, going to be celebrating soon. So, okay, sorry. This is, we're having a good time. Thank you everybody last week who endured our show. And
yeah, so Eileen, for our audio listeners, they might be like, endured your show.
Yes.
For the live folks, and hi to all of you who are live, or who watch the video after the fact. We just had some funny technical difficulties. We really don't know what happened, but Eileen kept bouncing out of the stream. And coming back real quick, but it happened, more than once. And by the end of it, I was laughing because what else are you going to do? But Eileen was just like, okay, that should not happen again. So this is sort of the fun thing that you get if you join us live. We're always available on demand, but you can join us live if you can. We do record Mondays. We're trying a new thing out where after DTNS ends on Mondays, because we do share the same stream, we're thinking what we'll do is hop on, right around 2 p.m. Pacific. They might still be picking titles, but in general, wrapping up their stream. And then start around 2:15. So if you jump in early, all good. You might see the end of another show, but we'll be here in a jiff. So, hi everybody. I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Eileen Rivera.
And yeah, let's talk about the visions for Apple. This is a show about all things Apple. Obviously, the Vision Pro has been a big topic of news as of late. But Apple, I woke up to like quite a bit of Apple news this morning, Eileen, almost to the point where I was like, interesting that there's no Apple event planned. But we'll get to that in a second. That's a rumor, by the way. We don't know that for sure, but there's some force behind it. Our first topic is, was big news last week. In fact, it was big news right after we recorded episode 4.
Absolutely.
Because that's how the news cycle works. They try to keep us on our toes. But that was the report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman that the Apple Car project has been put on ice.
Yeah.
Maybe indefinitely, maybe not, but for now, not happening. Around 2,000 employees were working on the project. That is a large startup, by the way. Just that amount of people working on something that no one really knew anything about. That's a big number of folks. Some of them reportedly will be laid off or have been. And some others will be moved over to the AI department of Apple, which is, we kind of have 2 stories here, right? It's like, what happened to the car and what's the AI team doing? Right. So let's start with the car. What do you think?
It sounds to me, at least the article that I was reading with Mark Gurman, that they really wanted to compete with Tesla. And it just, the ambitious things that Apple wanted to take on, they just decided it probably wouldn't be cost effective at the end of the day, right? We were talking a little bit about that last week, like business decisions as it pertains to this potential ring. And they have so many different divisions. And like you said, 2,000 people working on the car. That's a hefty division. Now, for some of them to not be there and some of them to move on to a different project, there are all kinds of divisions at Apple. And there is a larger picture to think about, what will be the biggest make and also have a good return. Is that seems to, the car is such a new avenue for Apple. I was quite surprised that it was something that they were thinking about, but
thinking about doing in the first place.
Yeah, thinking about doing in the first place. But I think what they wanted to do and really go into self-driving, we're just not there yet, right? So perhaps this could be something that comes back, but at this point, it sounds like they've decided that there are other priorities that deserve to be put forward, and that's not the car. And I don't know, maybe I was thinking about it, is that because Apple sees a world where we're not driving and we have more transit options? And I'm talking U.S.
Where your Vision
right now
Pro
because
in peace. Yeah.
you don't need to go anywhere.
right?
Where are you going? Is that what they're seeing? That they're thinking, well, the car and the car life that we all know won't be the thing in the future, which to me is exciting because, I mean, I hope, and I don't know, maybe I just have to move to a place that has more transit options, but that's, driving, as I get older, I don't like driving. I want somebody to drive for me. And I see people just driving crazily on the road now. And I'm just like, oh, it makes me mad. I don't like having road rage. So maybe I was thinking that maybe Apple's seeing a different vision of the world that doesn't involve cars.
I having thought about this story for the last week, it feels extremely Apple to me for a variety of reasons. Number one, Apple doesn't want to compete with Tesla. It wants to have like the better car. Right. In 2014, when the project, started floating around in rumors, Apple was riding high. It was doing really well, had totally upended the smartphone industry. It was like about to announce the Apple Watch. Apple was in a cool space. So the idea of like, well, they're going to make a car, and they're going to disrupt that one too. And of course, again, Apple never really talked about this Project Titan, as it was known internally, but it was a known thing that was happening. But over the, over the last decade since then, a lot of other companies have had issues with self-driving vehicles. Some of that stuff is like, the robo-taxi industry. Some of that is Tesla also, having to recall vehicles because they weren't working as advertised, especially when it comes to self-driving modes. I feel like, for a lot of people just being like, oh, Apple just dropped the ball on this one. I think Apple just sat back. Not that they weren't working on a car, because I'm positive that with all those employees, there was a lot going on and was just like, we're not ready. World is not ready. Let's let the other companies flail and figure out, legality issues, all the issues, and maybe come back to this and maybe not. It's not. Yeah.
I mean, it is the hot button these days for AI. So moving more people into that arena. And I'm excited to talk about AI at some point. We had a very cool guest planned to help us with AI. And I think he'll help us later, which is great. But I think, I think it's the smart move to shelve this and move their people into thinking about ways that their current products can, up level with better AI, software and technology, right? So, I don't know.
Of the 2,000-ish employees of those folks that are staying with Apple and moving into generative AI, it's sort of like, what is that? Siri? I mean, what are we doing?
Right. What is that?
I think that's lots of things. Siri, or whatever Siri becomes in the future, is a big part of that. But I also feel like, Apple, especially with as many car companies, and sometimes these are concept cars, so they're not necessarily going to see the light of day for, on a consumer level. But, this whole idea of like the entire dash is a display, where you can just fire up some software option, CarPlay, Android Auto. We don't really have that many options right now. We have good options for, newer cars, but something that's a real like full display, that is what cars seem to be going in the direction of. And
I was really
Apple working on something that's like an AI-based version of a software solution for a car is like, that's an Apple car to me.
Yeah.
Besides the exterior.
I was really looking at the Ioniq 6 because of the dashboard display that they have. I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet, but my next car will be probably electric. And that was the car that I was eyeing. and I don't need it yet, but I love the way it looks. And I'm like so close to like just wanting to test drive, but I just don't want them calling me like 5 times a day. Like, what did you think of the car? What did you think of the car when I'm not ready to buy? So, but it was just, you know,
They
the
do have a
dashboard.
habit of that, don't they?
They do. I'm like, I don't know. So,
Hey,
as much as
Eileen,
I'm curious,
what do we got to do to get you out of here with an Ioniq 6 today?
free?
Five.
How about
Yeah.
free? How
Yeah,
about,
free.
you know,
Give it to me for
trade in my
free,
car
and
for
I will
free.
take it off the lot. Yeah.
But it, you know, it looked gorgeous, the display, and it just looks so, you know, that's the future,
Sleek.
right?
Yeah,
Sleek,
totally. Mm-hmm.
and I can see everything even in the dark, and I can move things around so I can see like the speedometer or whatever. I don't know. Just there was stuff about it that I was like, this is the future. And I love my car, but it is 2011, so it's a little archaic and Bluetooth in the way that, you know, I don't even have CarPlay. I have had CarPlay when I rented cars, and I love it, but my car doesn't have CarPlay, and so
I have a 2019 Volvo. It is CarPlay supported, but only wired. Does not have wireless support. That was like of course, the next year's model.
The next year, of course.
Which is, and again, like I've got a little center console. Like it's not a big deal to plug it in, but I'm like, wireless would be better. But yeah, it has totally changed my life. You know, to the point where, because I'm not only charging my phone in the car, because I have to plug it in, but I have access to a bunch of stuff. CarPlay is limited. It's you're not going to be able to do everything you want to do. That's by design, because it's like safety first, right? It's like you can't even read your messages. If you text me while I'm driving, it's like, message from Eileen says, you know, would you like to respond? You know, and you know, that's because if I'm looking at your message, that's no good. It's basically like looking at your phone. But it's great. It's great. If I don't have CarPlay, I'm not gonna die or anything. But I'm like, oh man, I just want the option. I want my phone to be on that dashboard in some capacity.
I mean, Sarah, my car is so archaic. I don't even have the camera to, you know, and most cars now have the cameras to back up and you can see behind. I don't even have that. I have Bluetooth. I have a Bluetooth dongle.
You're probably a better driver for that, to be honest.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
You know, the camera's nice, but sometimes I'm like, I should really just look behind me.
The phone is on the dashboard. The phone is on the dashboard for the maps, and my Bluetooth dongle to connect to hear my music. It works sometimes and it doesn't work. And usually whoever's in the passenger seat, which is usually Tom, my car wants to only pick the person on the driver's seat, or on the passenger seat, not the actual driver who's going to be, you know, wanting their music played. It's just weird. Anyway, it's nothing to cry about.
Little quirks.
Yeah. Nothing to cry about. It's been a great car. But at some point, whenever I upgrade, like that's why I was excited about the Apple car. I'm like, oh, what are they doing? I mean, I bet I wasn't going to be able to afford it anyway. And I maybe would still want the Ioniq 6, but usually when Apple, like we said, enters the chat, they're going to up level, you know, whatever industry they're in, or newest offering that they are now taking a part of, and you know, force other manufacturers to do the same, you know, and come up with other innovative options. And in this case for the car, maybe there's safety, maybe there's there's just so many things that I feel like probably Apple had the best intentions, but again, looking at the business, it probably, like you said, it's just not the right time. But maybe later, you know?
Yeah. I mean, on the software side of things, Apple is notorious for catching up with Android, for example, and then just being like, we reinvented the wheel. And Android people everywhere are like, we've had this feature for 2 years.
Forever.
Yeah. But when it comes to hardware, Apple doesn't release anything that's catching up with anybody. In its own eyes, right? I mean, you might say, oh yeah, the Vision Pro is catching up with the Quest. You know, that's it's there are lots of ways to look at something, but I believe that the company, when it comes to hardware, says we're the best at this.
Yeah.
We if we're going to make a car, it's not going to be, a half-baked vision. It's going to be the best car you've ever seen. And they simply decided it wasn't worth the research and the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I would have bought an Apple car. Well,
you would have
$200,000, but I would have wanted to see this. I really wanted it. I thought, this is kind of far-fetched. The project seems, it was so willy-nilly as far as the rumor mill goes for so long. I was like, I don't really expect one, but I would have wanted one big time.
I definitely wanted to see it. And, I'm sure somebody, hopefully, that I knew, like you, Sarah, would own one, and then I can ride in one for a little bit and see how that goes.
Someone like me, Eileen, flush with cash. I mean, just coming out of my ears.
Well, maybe there was like
I would buy an Apple car and eat top ramen for 5 years. I would have done that.
Okay, that's what. There it is.
Taking one for the team, the collective team here. But anyway, yeah, so we're not getting a car.
Nope.
The AI efforts from Apple are largely still under wraps. We know that the company, as many are working, is working on some generative models. Again, Apple historically silent about what they're working on behind the scenes, but suffice to say, that's happening. What I think is interesting about the timing of all of this, Eileen, is that the new rumor is that we're not getting a spring Apple event.
Right.
Apple has done this before, where they just said, "Hey, here's new stuff. We're not gonna do the whole, Tim Cook and the drone footage from Apple campus headquarters. We're just gonna tell you what's new." And today, Monday, March 4th, as we're recording this, one of those situations where we heard that there are two new MacBook Air models, the 13 and the 15-inch, that have the new M3 chip involved. And I gotta say, I'm not in the market for a new Air. I have the M1 Air, which I love.
Same.
Ride or die. Love that thing. Yep. But I'm excited at some point. Well, I'm not excited for my MacBook to die. I want it to never die. But I'm excited to hear more about the M3 chips. And what I really want is an M3 Mac Mini. That's what I want. And that's also rumored to come out later this year. My Mac Mini, which I'm using for the show, and I've been using for all of my podcasting efforts, especially live streaming since 2019, was just prior to the M1. I just, my timing is impeccable. So it's not an M1 Mac Mini. It's a nice little machine, but it huffs and puffs sometimes.
Okay.
I think that's probably
starting
going to be
tired.
It's starting to get tired, and it gets hot, and it's acting weird lately. I run it hard, so that's what happens. But I'm also like, my M1 MacBook Air doesn't even talk back, and all you're doing is just your fans going all day, and all I did was open Chrome. What's wrong with you? So I think at least an M1 Mac Mini in my future, maybe even refurbished.
Right?
Why not?
Right. Yeah. Right. Because the other one's starting to, say, you know what? I think I need to retire. It might, it's starting to give you signals. It's giving you a warning,
It's giving me a warning. I'm getting tired. Also, once you have in this case, this is not apples to apples, because I'm talking about an Air versus a Mac Mini, and they're different. But when I first got the M1 Air, you know, I understood what was under the hood and why it was different than an Intel Mac, but I was like, oh my God, it doesn't, there's no fan, like there's no
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah. I don't hear anything on my.
I haven't thought
Oh my
about that
God.
in a while because now I'm used to it.
Mhm.
But that used to just be like when you know, like, okay, I'm computing pretty hard right now. You
Yeah.
know, fans rolling up, and my Mac Mini still does that. Where I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like my MacBook Pro did not give me a warning that I was going down. It just went down. It was like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, it feels like I'm actually excited that we're not having like a major pomp and circumstance announcement, mostly because that I don't know how many of these do we need per year, right? It's fine to just give me the
Yeah,
link
just
and the
tell us
site
what
and
you're
just tell
doing.
us what
Yeah.
it is. It's fine. I mean, obviously if it was something that we'd never heard before, then you probably want the presentation. But these are, an upgrade. It's not even, to me, it doesn't sound revolutionary, but it's a great upgrade for somebody who have been waiting for it. But nothing earth shattering, right? Nothing like that we need to shuttle out Tim Cook on stage and everybody else.
Well, and I think a lot of companies, because the sort of like, big event, which Apple made, well,
big
I
deal,
wouldn't say Apple made popular, but it made it to be like a, appointment, you gotta be part of this.
Right.
If you don't have, a huge announcement, then people walk away going, ooh, I don't know about all this.
Right.
Even though it might be a bunch of products that are working for people. And again, this is not only Apple. I mean, all companies, either have like a big launch event for something that, surprises and delights or disappoints people. But if you don't do the big launch event, then you can be like, okay, here's some new products that you might have been waiting for. And we don't have to be like, this is the most revolutionary thing on the market. Because sometimes it's not. It's just, next gen stuff.
I think you're right. I think Apple knew that this was, it's just an upgrade, and it's a good one, but it's an upgrade that is, was going to happen anyway. But why put all the resources into making such a big deal out of it? We definitely would have walked away with like, oh, well, it's just that, that attitude would have definitely happened.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there are other rumors, which I'm really excited about. And, we could get new iPad Pros, which, is that's the next rumor, right? The iPad and, a new
M3
Magic
chip.
Keyboard with an M3 chip. I have an M2. I'm not going to upgrade, but I am curious. And then there's also talk about a new Apple Pencil and what that is. But I feel like that's really for designers and who need more control than what is given on an app. They want control on the actual pencil. These are all, again, rumors that I've been reading and watching, other vloggers online talking about what could happen with the iPad Pro. But that one seems to be one that everyone's waiting for because it has been a while. Yeah, it has been a while since the last upgrade. So this is one that, again, does it warrant a presentation? Maybe not, but this is the one that, I think people are hoping to have even better upgrades than maybe, the Air or the Pro.
Well, the
laptops,
iPad Pro, I mean, the iPad line, you have options, but the iPad Pro specifically, and, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, is designed to be a laptop. You've got your
but it's
keyboard that you can, you can dock it, you can use it as a primary computer. I've never had a Pro, not an iPad Pro. The last iPad I got was for work, and that was a solid 10 years ago. No, maybe not 10 years ago. I think I think the last iPad that I got, which was a work thing, was the iPad Air, and that would probably have been 2015. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, and listen, older iPads work great for stuff. Depending on what you want to do, I would not use one of my iPads that I have, you know, in my iPad drawer as a primary computer. They just lug along, you know, they're not snappy enough. And I'm, you know, lucky enough to have other options. But I think that the iPad Pro really is, you know, for some people, it's like, it's a tablet, it's a computer, it's everything. Love the form factor. This is a pro device. What I've never felt the need to get is the pencil. And part of that, Eileen, is because, you know, I have no artistic skill. I also don't, on physical paper, write notes down very often. I don't even know if I have a pen in my house right now. I just don't like. There,
you need a pen.
You know, and people like, honestly, like, I might not have a pen in my house. I'll, you know, it's like,
wow,
I've got lipstick in here in this drawer. I don't have a pen. But some people are like, oh no, I have to. You know, it's not even like sketching stuff. It's just physically writing down notes that some people, you know, feel like their brain retains information better that way, which I think is true, super true. And so the pencil, or any sort of Apple-esque pencil device for other hardware options, are really great options for a lot of folks. But like, there are a lot of folks who, you know, carry around Moleskine.
I know.
You know, and just, you know, just write down little notes, which I think is like the cutest thing. I'm like, I wish I had that gene. I seem to be missing it. I'm just like, no. Give me my MacBook Air and I'll write it in the Notes app.
So I've had my iPad Pro for 6 months now, a little over 6 months. And I did get the pencil, and I'm not artistic, but I do take a lot of notes. And I found that I had multiple, not Moleskine, but multiple notebooks that I've been given, and all the notes are all over the place. So I wanted to just get rid of that and just know that I was going to find all my notes in one place. So that's partially why. And I was just curious about the pencil, but I actually really love using this, even though I don't do drawings, but sometimes there's actually a coloring app, which is cool. And you just for like, therapeutic purposes. But apart from that, I use this app. I've talked about it before, GoodNotes, and I write. I do things for my Korean class. I take, notes, and I, plan my day with it and things like that. I just really love incorporating this pencil for whatever reason into my day. And I have like a protector on the iPad. So it's called Paperlike. And so when you actually write on the iPad, it sounds like you're writing on a piece of paper, which I love that. I know it's kind of a gimmicky thing, but it actually works, and it makes me not afraid to use the pencil, and it gives some protection to the glass. And I do think that there have been a few minor moments where, and I don't have a keyboard. I'm shopping for a keyboard. If anybody has a good keyboard recommendation, please let me know. I didn't go for the Apple Magic Keyboard because it's a little pricey, so I've been looking at some of the cheaper ones on Amazon. But also, anyway, my point
I have a Magic Keyboard, and I gotta say, I mean, I this is whatever, the one with the number keys. Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's not the best keyboard in the world.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I have this here, but like, I have my own little, Bluetooth keyboard, Apple keyboard, but I wanted the iPad one, the Magic keyboard.
No, I know.
Specifically with that. But I'm like, I don't know if it's worth the money. And there's the Logitech that's just a little bit more expensive. And they have all this. Then there's all the third party ones that are like $50. I'm like, oh, but how good is that? And I just haven't pulled the trigger. But last night, I'm just going to, throw under the bus this app. But I was on LinkedIn, and I had some like subscription to LinkedIn that I don't need anymore. And so I literally was like, okay, let me go on the app on the iPad and just delete the subscription. No. You got to go to your desktop. Oh, okay. Well, let me try on because it's supposed to be a laptop, right? Let me just try on the browser on Chrome. So let me go in the, browser. Oh, no, we detect you got to go on your desktop to cancel this. First of all, they're trying so hard not to get me to cancel the subscription. I understand that. But are you serious? Like not even on the browser? Because I'm on a browser on my laptop to cancel the subscription, which I did cancel. LinkedIn, sorry. But like I couldn't do it on the
truth, iPad. Eileen. You live that truth.
I was a little upset at that. I was like, are you kidding me? Like it's the same browser, just it's on a different device, and you detected that I was on the iPad and not my laptop. That was rude. Anyway, I'm glad I canceled. So I'm getting this out now because I was so frustrated that I had to leave my room where I was to go. Yeah. Somebody from LinkedIn might hear this. I'm like, well, you know what? Fix it. Make your software better available on the iPad because it is a computer.
Something similar. Well, I mean, sort of similar, just as far as being like, I don't want to pay for something I don't use. Going back to Creative Cloud, which we were talking about before we started the show. One of my freelance jobs is producing this podcast called Unfinished Biz. And we've been on hiatus for a while. But part of my job is to do some stuff in Photoshop when it's time to publish the episode. We kind of do some artwork, and a friend of mine who's way better at this than I am was sort of like, here's your template. Here's how, you create these real nice album art thumbnails, which required me to have a Photoshop subscription. That's easy. $10 a month. Mm-hmm. But on hiatus, I'm like, well, wait a second. I mean, I wish I had another reason to play around in Photoshop. I just don't right now. So the $10 a month is truly me burning money. So, yeah, of course. And cancel. Many of you have probably been through this. I go in to cancel and Adobe's like, how about 2 free months? On us. And I'm like, done.
Oh, no. Do you have a calendar reminder to tell you to
I always do that. I always do that because that's how they'll get you. They want me to forget and then they start charging me again. So I'm like, the day before, put a calendar reminder. But I'm like, this is so I'm like, yay, free Photoshop for a couple of months. But I have been a customer for a while, so I'm good for it. But I was this is just silly.
You use it? Are you going to end up using it just because you have 2 free months? Or are you just going to?
Probably not. No, it's just free. I don't have to pay for 2 months, 60 days. Free
so you know what they're going to say, though? They're going to say when you're ready to cancel, how about another 2 free months? And you're going to take it?
And then I'll say, okay.
What if they say free things? $199? What if
then I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, a cup of coffee is way more than this, $1.99. But $10,
$10 is too much.
I know it's $10 per month is not the end of the world, but it does add up. We've all got bills.
Absolutely.
And as far as I subscribe to Apple Fitness Plus. Do I use it? No, never. I don't know why. I have no good reason. Also $10 a month. It's like you have to pick and choose your battles.
Absolutely. Today I was like, why do I even have the T-Mobile watch? You guys know, if you've been listening now, my watch is Series 4 and it dies. And I'm not even using it right now because I'm like, oh, I don't want to take it off the charger. How sad. So why do I even have that? Why am I even billed $10 a month for the watch thing right now? I need to cancel it. So I'm going to cancel. I'll get back to you guys on that, whether or not T-Mobile's free. Keep it for free because I'm going to cancel it after the show.
I feel like sometimes when you're, it's like breaking up with a partner. You're like, you know what? I'm out of here. And they're like, how about I'm better? And you're like, okay.
Oh, are you better?
So just actually, better.
You know what? I almost canceled Creative Cloud. I have the whole suite, which I honestly don't need. And I'm actually thinking about canceling because I'm thinking about going back to Final Cut Pro to edit. That's a whole different thing. So with Adobe Creative Cloud, it's like $59.99. So I was like, nope, can't. They gave me a deal, $29.99. And I was like, oh, and I'm definitely using Adobe Premiere right now, but I'm not using Motion. And I use Adobe Reader, but I'm not using most of the stuff. I'm not even using Photoshop. So now I'm like, maybe I don't need it. And I started using CapCut, but that's not great. That's not great. It's best on your, to me, I don't like the desktop as much as I like it on my phone. So that's a different situation, but like a real robust, editing, I have a few people that are like Final Cut Pro. I'm like, well, I learned on Final Cut Pro and I got rid of it. And now I'm on Adobe, but do I really want to pay this monthly? So I don't know. I think I might. Anyway, we'll get back to you on the subscriptions. This is a real thing. This is a real problem for everybody, right? Like down to, you know, how many subscriptions do you have? Like
it
how
really,
many
it really
is.
Because you know, the whole, and this is, we could have a whole episode on subscription-based things. Why they're good, why they're bad. I think there are really good arguments for both. But I do know, because I'm a person who sometimes will just pay for convenience. Because I'm like, in the moment, like, yeah, just do that. You know, and then 6 months later, I'm like, oh, what am I paying for? This is crazy. I have no money.
Yeah.
You know,
why am I doing it? Because you don't use it, right? And like, why are you doing it?
You don't use it, or it turns into something where it's like, oh, you know, it was billed as a really great way to like only pay for what you use. But, you know, subscription stuff never goes away. You know, it's like paying for that layaway couch forever. But you never stop paying for it. You just keep paying for it. And you're like, it's a good couch, but like, do I like it that much?
I have a subscription to a magazine called Dwell, which is about homes. And,
I love Dwell.
I'm really into it, but do I need it now? I don't think I need it. My yearly subscription's coming up in April, and I have it in my calendar to cancel. So again, I will get back to you guys on that. But that's just one of those things. It's like tracking all this stuff. Like, ugh, I don't even want to track it. So I'm tired. I'm tired of all of this. But I think we went on a tangent because of the iPad. Yeah. And the rumor is an M3 chip in the next version with not only the MacBook Air, but the iPad Pro. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I meant the iPad Pro. Did I say MacBook Air? I'm so mad about these canceling subscriptions.
It's all right. It's all right. You know, there are a lot of products here, Eileen. You know, I mean, it's not our fault.
I'm still mad about LinkedIn. I can't believe you didn't let me do it on this thing.
Eileen's like, got LinkedIn on the brain. Yeah. Yes. So yes, there is an M3 rumor. I mean, I would call it more than a rumor, because it's coming from a very good source, which is Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, who just obviously, I don't know, like, who did him dirty, where he just knows everything about Apple. You know,
all-knowing.
He might actually like secretly be an employee at this point. I don't know, but yeah. So that would be cool.
I mean, they're supposed to be thinner. They're supposed to have the what do you call this? The MagSafe the charging on the back, if possible. I mean, you know, I don't know, but I don't know.
I mean, yours is only 6 months old, right? So like,
I know I'm not going to get a new one. I'm not.
But do you feel like you hold it and think it should be thinner?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with this size. I don't have, I'm totally great. I mean, if it's thinner, do I feel
it's
like
not a bad thing?
More fragile? Yeah. It's not a bad thing. Is it more fragile? Probably not. It'll be fine. But this is a great size. I have the 11-inch iPad Pro, and I'm completely happy with it. I won't be happy if there's bells and whistles on the new one that I can't take advantage of. But you know, that's just what happens with tech, you know, and I'm not going to upgrade.
Exactly. They're always going to get you somewhere. I mean, until recently when our very good friend of the show, Lamar Wilson, was generous enough to share an iPhone 15 Pro Max Max Pro Max with me. I was using the 13, skipped the 14 entirely. I was like, I'm not going to do this every year. Come on.
Yeah.
But like, there was nothing wrong with that phone. I would have had that phone until I smashed it on the street, which would inevitably happen because I don't use a case. But otherwise, I wasn't going to buy a new one. But to your point, there are really cool photography things in the 15 that I didn't have before. And I didn't care before until I had them. And now I'm like, oh yeah, this is the way to go. But I would never say to somebody, who's, I don't know, if you have like a 10X Max, I would never be like, oh, you need to buy a new phone. Like, use the phone that works for you. Or the device that works for you, the iPad that works for you, the laptop, whatever.
So I was going to ask you, sorry, tangent here, but speaking of your iPhone 15, and I don't see it here right now, which I know I took a screen grab, but there was a button on your camera that would say, it looked like the Vision Pro. Did you see that on your camera, where if you tapped the camera in that button on your, it's not here anymore, but on your phone, you would be recording video or taking a picture that would be appropriate for your Vision Pro. Yeah. Did you see that on your thing? Did you do that? Does it look great?
Well, I don't have anything to show you guys now, but I tried it out. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it looked great. I mean, it looked like it was organic, I guess,
Okay.
Yeah.
But nothing to be excited about. And I say this because
I've done precious few recordings with the Vision Pro just because I don't know. I work from home. No one's around. I'm mostly just checking things out and being like, hee hee, no. And that's the end of it. I should probably do more recording. Some of you might get a kick out of it. I'll record Otis the dog. But
let's do it.
But no, it worked. Yeah. The two pair together pretty well. I think.
Okay.
As long as you're on the Wi-Fi network.
Well, speaking of, I bring that up partially because there's other rumors that iOS, what are we on, 18, could have more of a Vision Pro look. Circular icons, the feel, like maybe there's some environments
that would not surprise me
that tie into the Vision Pro that you will see on your iPhone and your iPad, right? Some people are excited about it. Some people are like, hell no. So, change. Nobody likes change. But it does make sense that they would want to tie in the OS for all three devices, right? You want to have something cohesive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I feel like it's going to happen.
Anytime anything changes that is, physical, right? When Apple moved away from skeuomorphic icons, for example, everyone was like, oh my God, it's a big deal. But like, yeah, it's the future. And it's kind of gone back and forth depending on, the third party developers that are in the mix. But yes, to have something that feels more uniform. I will. So I will say, the Vision Pro, I still think is an amazing device. I struggle to find a I have to use this use case for it on a daily basis. It's more of like, I got an hour or two to spare. Let's have some fun. That's fine too. But I think in order to make it work in an ecosystem going forward, it has to be something like it's like a must-have, right? Like your iPad Pro or my MacBook Air or whatever. It's like whatever it is that is a must-have, they got to figure that out. And we're in the early days of that. But I do feel like it doesn't feel like using iOS at all.
Oh, okay.
I guess it sort of does in the sense that you can mirror your other I can mirror my MacBook Air, for example, and use the MacBook Air as my primary computer while I'm using the Vision Pro, but it still feels it's new, it's different, it's wonky, it's weird. And there are new apps being added every day that are wonky and weird, but sometimes really cool. So yeah.
The design itself, though, like you don't have it. I mean, it seems like the design of the iOS in Vision Pro isn't anything to be offended by. Like, like I said, some people are like, "Oh, I don't want the circular icons," but I mean, I don't see that would be
circular icons either.
Oh, okay. So do you not want that on the phone then? And the iPad?
I mean, it's not the end of the world. I will get used to it. But like even when, well, okay, RIP Tweetbot. But when, Twitter was still Twitter and Tweetbot was a third-party Twitter app, there was always an option to have circular or square icons for like people's profiles. And I was like, who would ever choose circular? Like, you're cutting off all the good stuff. Make it square always. Square always. But that's just, everybody likes their stuff.
Everybody likes their thing.
Everybody likes their thing. You like your eggs, made a certain way. Same.
Well, I kind of believe it's coming. So I think it's coming. But, there's so many other apps third-party apps that you could use to reskin, or, make it look different than what the, current OS will be or is. So don't fret. You can customize all you want. But if it happens, you can totally change it if you don't like it.
Exactly. And that's the spice of life.
Absolutely. I was trying to check the chat to see if there was any comments on here. Can Otis wear the Apple Vision Pro like doggles?
Doggles? What's a doggle?
Oh, I think like goggles, Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a term. I didn't know.
I think that meant like goggles. I mean, Sawyer had to wear he's had some laser therapy for his hips, and they covered his eyes with goggles. He looks like he's like an aviator now. Like, what is that? Sawyer, my dog.
That's cute. Air Bud. Air Bud. Sawyer can be in the Air Bud remake, which will inevitably happen because they remake every single movie now. Although doggles is like a funny, you could almost say that about the Vision Pro because they're goggles, but there's also a dongle. A dongle. I don't know. Just workshopping it. Just workshopping it. I don't know. Not a great one. But yes, from Rohan, who is in our chat, have you tried watching movies with the Vision Pro? Any good? Still no Netflix. You can still access a Netflix account through Safari. So it's not as if it's, totally blocked off to you. It is, if you're in the mood, and I say this, the only thing I can really compare it to is, oh my God, look at Sawyer with his doggles. Oh my God, that's
those
so
of you
cute.
who can't see, who are only listening, Amos, who is showing us a picture of my dog Sawyer with his doggles, getting his laser surgeries. You can see in the back a little.
So happy! Oh my!
I mean, he's acting.
You put goggles on a dog, and my day is made. But yeah, just to quickly go back to the watching movie stuff, I feel like, so a lot of people are like, on a plane, this is amazing. Okay, but we're not all on planes.
We're not all getting on planes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, when is this amazing and who is it amazing for? I think if you are, as I am, sometimes you're like, I just want to be, fully immersive. I want this to like wrap around my brain. I'm not talking to anybody. Phone's not going to ring. No one else is in the house. This is awesome. Yeah. I wouldn't do it every day just to do it. I mean, we are getting close to the Oscars, so I'm watching more movies than usual because I want to see the good stuff, so I have an opinion. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't, this goes back to I think, our conversation really from episode 1 is like, if you don't have the space to make like a big home theater, this is your jam. It's expensive, but it is totally, a full immersive experience. I just think if you have a comfy room where you're like, yeah, this is my TV, I just watch it. It's all good. breathe the air, see the people around me. Maybe I have roommates. Who knows?
Yeah.
That it's not like the end all be all. It doesn't make experiencing entertainment better. I don't think. I think it makes it specifically better in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. But it'll evolve too. So eventually, like you said last week, Sarah, with your dream and the glasses, I did hear that part. I didn't die during that part of the show. That maybe it would be an even better immersive experience together. Oh, and then I still haven't heard about, online dating with the Apple Vision Pro. Nobody got back to us on that. Everybody was like,
no. No one wants to admit it. I know you all better than you think. And myself as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'll dive in there. It'll be fun or scary.
See, everybody,
sometimes things are just too immersive,
I know.
2D, all good.
I almost tried to encourage this by snipping out the portion of the show with you saying that, but my recording was so messed up from last week. I almost was like, no, I can't do anymore. So anyway.
All right. So we are going to take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit about some of our feedback that we've gotten. That was a little clunky. I could do better at that.
Oh, good. Thank you, Amos. Thank you for that. That way I can see that when I edit the show.
Nice.
All good.
All right.
You can bring us back. There we are.
There we are. All right. So Eileen, you saw this one. We were talking about the Vision Pro a little bit earlier, and people are starting to make Vision Pro, I don't know, like artistic covers?
Yes, artistic covers. It looks like a wannabe Spider-Man hood, or I mean, like, depending on the design, I think there will be people who really like this, but it's fun to see, people getting creative with covers on the Apple Vision Pro. Now, apparently you could see through these. So I don't know if this is something you would be interested in at all, Sarah, or if you think this is like unnecessary, but, or maybe a better design for you and what you're looking for versus this. But I just thought it was kind of interesting to see people now get creative with the covers for the Vision Pro. But yeah, apparently you can still see through this. Would you wear it?
I would. So, okay. So for anybody listening to the audio version of this, this comes from a ex-user named Kyle Goodrich, who said, I designed a cover for the Apple Vision Pro. The holes line up with the cameras and sensors, so tracking and capture work as expected. Thinking of making a small run of these if there's enough demand. Leave a note if you want one. And it's kind of Flintstone-y, I guess.
Oh, Flintstone-y. Oh, or wow, I didn't get that. Okay.
Or maybe like, I don't know, a rock that has a lot of holes in it. I don't know. What we're looking at basically is somebody who, added essentially a case onto the front of the Vision Pro without compromising any of the camera and sensor ability. What I loved, because this is the internet after all, is somebody who said right away, thank goodness. You know what everyone says Apple Vision Pro needs? More weight on the front. Which is like, okay, calm down. You know, you don't have to buy this. This is somebody like trying to be cool and do something different. You know, this is like, it's not unlike the idea of, you know, rocking an iPhone case that makes your iPhone look different than all other iPhones. Like, this is fine. Let the man live.
Let the man live. Everybody likes to complain about things, but you know,
and let him sell something that is, I mean, it's a style statement for sure. Yeah. But if it works, that's cool. I like it.
You know, if this person makes a ton of money, the person's going to be laughing, you know, to the bank. You made fun of my thing? I made X amount of money on this. So exactly. I don't know. I just think it's cool that people are coming up with, you know, creative designs. Because of course, you know, like I think about like, do I just put stickers on my AirPod Pro Max, or do I get like those cool, cute covers, you know, to design that? I don't know. I don't know how much more money I want to spend like doing that, but yeah, I kind of look at it. I'm like, this is kind of bare. Like, I think I need some design on my AirPods here, but what would I do? So for anybody out there who are just thinking of giving it a little bit, maybe this person, you know, or maybe somebody out there just wants to look different, you know, walking down the street with you're one of the what percentage of people have actually bought the Apple Vision Pro? I think we were looking at numbers of like 200,000 maybe units have been sold. That was the rumor.
Well, it's estimated that up to 250,000, and that comes from Minchico, who is good at these things, analyst, closely following Apple for a number of years, is actually superseding what Apple thought, you know,
right.
The top of that number would be, which was around 200,000, sorry. So yeah. Yeah, the whole sort of like, oh, people are returning the Vision Pro. It's like, if you bought it and returned it, I mean, you might have a legit response or a legit reason, but there's probably just a few of those people who never thought that they were going to keep it anyway. You know,
exactly.
Wanted to make some videos, get their money back, and then just be like, it's not for me. And then everyone was like, oh my God, no one wants to keep it. I mean, I do. It's awesome.
Well, yeah, and I think there's just going to be future uses for it. So, exactly. You know, now you've got the unit and you can just kind of wait to see what else springs up, because we're not getting a car. We don't know if we're going to get a ring.
Not getting a car. Yeah. Ring, in the future.
TBD.
Speaking of rings, first of all, before we get to some feedback, reminder that our email address is feedback@applevisionshow.com. We're also on Instagram, Apple Vision Show. We're also on TikTok, Apple Vision Show. And on YouTube, we are on the Daily Tech News Show YouTube account. So that's youtube.com/Daily Tech News Show. And we got some real nice responses on our show last week. Some of it was about how Eileen and I should get into comedy because we're really, really funny when we have technical difficulties. So thank you for that. But Mac TX had a couple notes on stuff we specifically talked about last week. One was, as for the ring, they say, I use my Apple Watch too much to swap it out for a ring that only tracks biometrics. And as for whether you rock a case or you don't have a case, the only thing that goes on my phone, says Mac TX, is a screen protector. I just don't like the bulk of a case. I'm with you on both. I'm with you on both here. I wear my Apple Watch, you know, all day, sometimes in the shower because I forget that I'm wearing it. That's how much like it's like a part of my person. I wear it at night. I love all the stuff. But to be honest, mostly all I'm really doing is biometrics. I have lots of apps that are, you know, available to me. Yeah, and I get notifications here and there, you know, stuff that I want to come that would be on my phone anyway. But I hear you. if you got a ring, there's precious, few areas of real estate that you could, you could.
Precious ring.
You get it. Yeah.
I've been thinking about precious ring. I've been thinking about the watch a little bit more. The things I use it for obviously are the health stuff, and I love the timer. Like if I'm doing stretches, like it pulses, so I know. Because if I use my phone, it's somewhere else, and I hear the alarm. I don't like it. So having the pulse on the watch is really nice. 30 seconds. Okay, move on to the next thing. 30 seconds. Move on to the next thing. I also the face that I have on my watch is actually some of my favorite photos. So when I see my niece pop up, I see, wedding photos, I see Sawyer pop up,
watch faces again. That's another episode in the future. Because it's so personal, right? Like I've got all these complications on mine where I'm like, this is what works for me. But like,
ooh, I can't wait to hear about this. Yeah. Like, I literally just like the photos, and every once in a while I'll have, and I'll make sure, and I have like time zones on it. Like I like to know because I hope to go back to Seoul, Korea someday. So I'll have obviously our time zone. Then I'll have Seoul, so I know what time it is over there, and I just like to keep that. But yeah, the photos are a big thing, and when I look and I see, there's my niece, cute. I remember this picture. It just makes me happy. And you wouldn't get that with a ring. You won't get that with the ring. So now I'm kind of going back on my ring versus watch, even though I don't need all the stuff on the watch. I'm okay with those things.
If you had a ring, which is, let's assume the ring isn't going to be like so crazy vertical that it would like go over, a knuckle that would make it hard to wear. You just can't show things like that. You could maybe do like scrolling, I don't know, weather information, like
so small,
maybe a few things you could do, but otherwise I don't think a ring is designed to be a display at all.
Yeah,
that's just crazy. It's going to make it bulky. It's going to make it,
There was that patent we talked about that said maybe there might be like a little touchpad on it, but not for the same purpose that I just talked about, right? Like notifications would be weird on so small. You can't read that. I already having a hard time reading right now. There's just no way.
What if, okay, again, just spitballing here, but like what if the Apple Ring was just like Morse code, like,
and we all learn Morse code
and Braille? You'd be like, I think my mother wants me to call her back. Got it. Maybe we all learn a little something about survival.
We may need those skills. See, Apple's already thinking we may need those skills, sadly.
I'm only half kidding right now.
I know, right? Like, only the strong survive. Only the ones who know Morse code and Braille. Will be able to survive.
I love it.
But I'm going back on the whole watch ring.
Or the Morse code, like you point your iPhone at the Morse code and it's like a QR code where the iPhone's like, oh, your ring is trying to tell you that you didn't get enough sleep last night.
Oh, what? Sarah's living in the future. She's in her own Blade Runner.
I am ready to be hired. Okay? I'm ready to be hired. Let's just do this thing.
Innovation. You need some people on the innovation team, right? Right here, Sarah Lane.
Oh boy. Well, listen, we're coming to the end of episode 5 of Apple Vision Show. We hope all of you have had as much fun as we have. It's been a raucous show, but super fun. Just a reminder, you can subscribe to the show. We really, really appreciate all subscriptions, and tell a friend if you think you might like the show as well. AppleVisionShow.com is a great way to do that, or anywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find us there as well. And again, we've got email, feedback@AppleVisionShow.com. If we said anything that, struck a chord, let us know, because we're all in this together.
Thank you so much for listening as always. And feedback much appreciated. We'll be back next week.
See y'all next week. Talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Ambassador Domo's like, long show. Then Marcello says, it's over already?
Long
Ace.
show. What?
Different.
You know
Was it a long
what,
show? We had a long
Marcello?
pre-show.
I see you. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
know, when you're having fun, time flies.
Yeah, we
Time
just
flies.
go do our tangents. I can't help it. I had the LinkedIn thing fresh in my mind. You know,
what?
I had another
Tangents-
story about.
We should all be allowed a tangent here and there. You know,
I had another
you can't always
story
have
about-
a tangent. So when you're allowed one, you
Exactly.
go for it. You take
Exactly.
that tangent. Yes, you do.
Someday I might talk about the map story, but that I think was mostly related to AI. And when we really talk about AI, I had a kind of like a map story because something came up and I was like, what? Like it kind of read my mind. I was like, are you Apple Maps read my mind of all things,
Oh.
read my mind. It was kind of weird. It's like I made it learn something and it wasn't like a calendar entry that popped up. I just made it learn something and it answered.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask for it. I was like, what?
Do tell. You know, on a future show, not right this second.
I want to surprise you, or you'll be like, no, I've heard
I
about
will
this
say
before.
though, you know, going back to CarPlay, and I'll keep this
Yeah.
brief, but you know, Google Maps option, Apple Maps option, and you know, when I'm in my car, I'm often using CarPlay to go somewhere that I haven't been before. I mean, it's great for that.
Yeah.
And Apple Maps is the better one. Really.
Ooh,
They
hot
work.
take.
They
Hot
work
take.
the same. They work the same.
Yeah.
But Apple Maps just works better. And I would not have said that 5 years ago. Oh
Absolutely
my gosh, would
not.
I have not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
also get really frustrated with Waze. I don't know about you. Like I'm like,
I don't
stop.
use Waze
and
at
even
all.
though I turn it, I haven't really. It's either Google Maps or Apple, and Apple's starting to like give me more notifications. I'm not asking for it, but they're like, "Oh, you're going home." Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going home. Let's
yeah,
go.
or they're like police activity ahead. And then like 5 minutes later I'm like, yeah. See,
You
I already
got
knew
that.
about that. Because Apple Maps told me.
I use all three for different reasons. I use
Oh,
Apple Map.
you
Apple
use
Maps I find is easiest for navigation when I'm actually driving somewhere, especially considering it does the little Apple Tap thing, and I've learned to, or the watch tap thing, so it'll tap differently on your wrist
Yeah.
depending on which direction you need to turn. I use Waze if I'm worried about traffic because the other two just don't handle traffic. And if I'm actually searching on the web for something, I will use Google Maps because it's more comprehensive as far as like locations of restaurants and things like that. So I use Apple Maps for navigation,
Oh.
Waze for traffic.
So do you ever like let's say you're starting out, you're going somewhere that's going to be a 20-minute drive. Do you start with Apple Maps and switch over to Waze if you think there's going to be like a traffic thing?
No, I only really use Waze if I'm in a hurry and traffic is actually important. Other than that,
Yeah.
I'm really not concerned about traffic too much. So it's just Apple Maps. Yeah. But I never use Google Maps on my phone in the car. I find it infuriating the way that it wants you to navigate. It doesn't flow with traffic. Apple Maps is so much better for navigation. But if I'm looking for a restaurant or something like that, I'll use Google Maps because it's just more comprehensive.
Yeah, it is definitely
Also,
more
this is a
comprehensive.
tiny thing, but in CarPlay, at least in my car, who knows? Your mileage may vary. Get it? When I use Google Maps and I'm listening to a podcast or music, it'll dip, but then I like miss a few sentences, because it's like at the next light, turn left, where I'm like, I was listening to the moth. But if I use Apple Maps, it just pauses and then actually like goes back like 3 seconds. So I'm like, all right, well, I heard, the last part of that sentence again, but at least I didn't miss anything. That's like very important to me when I'm listening to something that I really care about.
Oh, I agree. I haven't
Yeah.
really tried that, to be honest with you. Okay, I'll
And
pay attention to that
there
next
may
time.
be a
I have all
setting
those-
where
I
I
have all those audio
I can
cues
do
off.
that. Yeah.
I can't do it irritates me too much to be listening to music or listening to a podcast and have it dip at all for something to tell me, oh, I'm supposed to turn here. But yeah, you just told me that on the screen and on my watch. I don't need to know. I don't need to hear that. So I have all those audio note audio
Yes.
things off.
Yeah. I
I
there are times where I
turn it
use
off.
navigation for somewhere that I'm well aware of how I get there. I don't know. It's just like it's like a security blanket.
Well, and you never know. You might need to get rerouted because of some.
Well, in in LA
or
where I
whatever.
live now, that actually does
Yeah.
happen. Like there are times where it's like, here's my route. It's the fastest one. I know this as the
And
crow
they're like,
flies.
no, it's not.
But it's like, no,
They're
there's
like-
an accident, so you have to go this way. So that is that makes sense. But even on off hours, sometimes I'm like, I like her to tell me where to go. And then I like my watch to be like, beep, 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 beep. You're about to get to the light. I'm like, all right.
It's
I
like
am very aware of what I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah, the only thing I'd recommend, like if I had a chance to recommend something to Apple, was as soon as I turn onto a road, give me the vibration on my watch right away. Give me maybe a different one, just to let me know if I'm supposed to be on the right side or the left side. Tell me now instead of waiting until I'm a quarter mile and I can't get over anymore because there's too much.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so as soon as I
yeah,
turn
yeah.
onto that road, I'm going to be on there for 3 miles. Go ahead and tell me now which lane I need to be in.
You know, that's another problem I've had with Google Maps. And again, this is, based on cell connectivity where I live. So it's not going to be the same for everybody. But with Google Maps, more often than not, I will be, maybe going somewhere unfamiliar where it's like in 500 feet turn onto, Lane Drive, where I'm like, I already passed it. You're late. You're late. I can't, you're not actually helping me with navigation. You're like just a little too late that now, now I'm like rerouting and, proceed to the route. When I hear that, I'm like, all right, you're out of here. You are out of here.
Yeah, Google and Waze are one and the same at this point, and there's always an exit that I take to go to the vet, and it's either take B or C, and I usually know it's off the same. It's like you're either going east or west. I know it's B, but as it approaches, it like doesn't want to tell me. It's still telling me it's telling me to go C when it knows the minute I pass, the C. Then it says, oh, you need to be in B. I'm like, I'm already there, but I knew it, thank God, and didn't keep going down C.
Yeah,
down
thanks
the
for
wrong way.
nothing.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. I was like, only because I've gotten, I've gone down C when I wasn't thinking. Because, you're like, I'm on autopilot. Yeah, I'm going, I know where I'm going. No, I didn't. I was not paying attention. So now sometimes that's why the voice doesn't work for me sometimes because it's telling me too late where to go, and that pisses me off. But these are just they're learning. They're
At
learning.
the next light, make a U-turn. I'm like,
And Sarah, there are adapters you can add that are that'll plug into your car and give you that wireless connectivity for a CarPlay.
Really?
They're about $60 to $100 depending on which ones you get. And they do introduce a little bit of a delay, like a 1 second delay to everything. It can be annoying, but like when I was driving for
1 second,
DoorDash,
I probably wouldn't even notice.
yeah, for like DoorDash, when I'm taking my phone out of the car all the time to go take a picture and put it back in the car, I don't want to sit there and replug it in. It worked awesome, and we now have one permanently installed in the Durango that doesn't have the wireless.
Well, how about that? I thought I was just relegated to a life of wired, which again, not a big deal.
Right.
I my car is fairly new. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, because my truck had the
actually
same
really
thing where
dirty right now.
the year later has the wireless CarPlay and mine does not. So
Same. Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine got my exact car just 1 year later and was like, what? You need to use like USB? And I was like, yeah, don't you? And he was like, no, you just like put it down.
yeah. Hey friend, check your privilege.
Put it down. You just put it
I'm like,
down. Oh, why couldn't I think of MagSafe the entire time during the show?
MagSafe,
the mag.
I knew what you
the
meant.
magnet.
Yeah.
I was like, the mag. Why does that happen? Now you're like saying put it down. I'm like, right on the MagSafe. Blah. Oh wait, it doesn't come out. All right.
Well, Amos,
we
we know you're continuing.
Yeah, you gotta
on the journey for today. This is Amos's first time hanging out with Eileen and I, doing stuff in the background, and boy, do we appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
This is the fun part.
Hopefully this is a marriage that will not end in divorce. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean,
yes, help me not have nightmares.
We either stay together or we don't.
Or we die.
Or we die. We stay together or we die. Yeah.
Better know that Morse code, I'm telling you.
The marriage Morse code.
Oh, that is like, oh wait, no. I thought that was one of the title suggestions from our visionaries out there. No, the apple cart in front of the horse. Oh, okay. Doggles. Doggles up there.
And I put a link to that picture in the doc, so you can add that to the show notes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Cute. So
thank
cute.
you. Thank you. Oh, anyway.
Yes,
all right.
from saying Cord Killers is next.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know. Do we have to like hand the baton?
The show keeps rolling on. That is a good question.
Do we hand the baton over? Are you ready? No, I don't know.
I haven't gotten the link yet, so he hasn't sent us the link.
Oh, I don't think he can hear. I think he's wearing headphones. He can't hear me. He doesn't know that I'm yelling. He's like, he stopped listening.
I mean, I'm not trying to, call anybody out here, but sometimes I wear headphones and I'm like, oh, I didn't hear you, but I did. Heard you the
totally
whole
heard
time.
us.
I was just like, what? No, can't. Yeah, sorry, so busy.
Oh, so busy. Sorry. Oh.
Did you? I'm sorry. Yeah, did you say something? Oh, weird.
Yeah, you know what? Time is up. I gotta go. Sorry, I have an appointment. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You could raid the Night Attack channel in about 15 minutes or so. No, I have to edit the show. So
I gotta walk my dog, who has very patiently, because I had a long Monday as well, been indoors, but it is sunny and warm in LA after being kind of rainy and weird the last couple of days. So we're gonna do a fun walk. We really, really, really had so much fun today. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us, and let's do it again next week. What do you say?
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I'm bouncing.